When I first joined the team, actually, of the first game, I really felt like we were creating something that was much bigger than the sum of all of us. There is this kind of beast, you know, waiting to be revealed that we were not really fully understanding in the first place.
I was working on Prince of Persia and the game was linear, so we can really script and decide where is the composition, how we design the environment because of the mission and the animation. Now we have to create a universe and every single asset could be seen like really from up close to very far. You have large vistas, and for me it was like really like creating a living, breathing world that was completely new, and I found that idea completely crazy, but it was an amazing challenge.
Working on the Assassin's Creed franchise has been a dream job as a historian and also as a fan of history, because I've always liked museums and I've always liked to imagine what history would be in the ancient cities when you learn about them from books or from movies even, because you have so many constraints in these mediums. But when you go into the video game, you can go everywhere, basically.
History is our playground. So for sure the context, who are you in this world? What part of the world do we want to go to? What I love about Assassin's Creed is that we effectively try to transport our players to a time and a place that they can never truly revisit anymore.
The fact of being able to be at the ground floor on this franchise, which is dear to my heart, and I truly say that honestly, now being on it 10 years later still, and having been there at the beginning and see the birth of this thing from the perspective of fans, from the perspective of developers, it's now part of their lives.
Stop! Signore, don't drink that!
You are too late. The Doge is dead.
We are not recreating the reality we see, outside when we leave the office. We want to travel, we want to feel a journey.
We always start building games really trying to bring something unique. Whether it's a message, a gameplay, whatever it is, we always want to bring something fresh to that experience, but making sure we respect the brand.
But the most fascinating way in which it's evolved for me is the size and scope of the universe that we've created around this series. I remember back on the first AC, you had a given story with a given set of characters, and to look at it 10 years later, with all of the evolution in terms of characters, settings, transmedia, fan involvement, fan films, this evolution in the universe and how the universe has taken on this size and scope is, to me, a really amazing thing to witness.
Your father was an assassin, Arno. He gave his life, fighting for the liberty of all mankind.
On a very personal level, it's one of the only games where you have a Syrian hero and someone from the Middle East who's represented as a hero. This is rare, and this was super cool, and this was the thing that caught my attention, and then after that it was Ezio and Italian Renaissance.
So when we created Ezio, it was, for some people it was a risk, because we created a franchise, a brand with Altair, which was actually quite liked, by the players. When you explore different time periods, you need different men, and then Ezio was so well crafted, was so well thought in the first place, that we were able actually to tell his entire life through 3 games, 1 short movie, plus other, collateral games. So Ezio became this really iconic figure of the franchise because we were able to actually change the time period and develop it and expand it. Because he's really the one that defined the franchise, structured it. I mean, we made 3 games with him, we know him from birth, we literally gave birth to him, and then we had the luxury to live also his death, in the short movie Embers. And so this is really rare, actually, in the entertainment, to be able to follow a hero's journey, from birth to death.
Silenzio, my friends! Silenzio! Grazie.
You don't want to get bored doing the same thing over and over again. You want to challenge yourself. You want to try something different and something new. There's different teams that are developing AC games. So making sure we create something that's cohesive, that makes sense, that respects the lore, there's always a challenge in that. So I came into Assassin's Creed as a fan. I loved Assassin's Creed, and being able to work on it was a pleasure. From the initial standpoint, we kind of knew we were making, back then it was a pirate fantasy, a pirate experience. And so the initial questions were, You know, what does it mean to be a pirate within Assassin's Creed? What does it mean for gameplay?
There was this group with no specific egos, you know, taking the lead. It was really this feeling of a group, of a crew, literally, to use this metaphoric element, all together, you know, in the trenches during 2 years, developing this game that was quite different from the others, with the pirate aspect.
I think the balance between history, you know, historical playground and fantasy is very important, and you need to find this great balance to have fun. It's not documentary making, it's also a fun game, and having fun while you're making a game will be also something that people will feel when they play the game.
On the other side, well, we have different historic sets, and all of them have their different challenges too. Working with Paris, the French Revolution in Paris is much easier in one way for the landmarks because all of them still exist today. When you move to colonial America, it's complex because most of these locations have changed a lot. There's nothing left of colonial New York today, or almost nothing. So on a research perspective, it's harder because we have to understand as a team what these places look like.
We have a lot of people who are, you know, who love the series and want to respect it and try to communicate as best as they can to make sure everybody's aligned. Working on a big game where you want control and to create that unique experience, but making sure you respect the lore, it's always a challenge, but we've been doing it for years now.
For me, it's always a balance to find between tradition and renewal. And so it's really about continuing this big franchise that a lot of fans like, so that they feel at home, so that they feel not betrayed, you know, but at the same time renewing it enough, bringing some fresh elements that tells everybody, you know, join the family, you will have fun because this is a game of the time.
Ancient writing from the Old Kingdom.
In the 10 years of Assassin's Creed, we've seen that the franchise has moved from a video game entertainment product to an industry where we have different mediums, we have books, novels, movie.
Now it comes about the future of the franchise. I hope that with Origins we'll prove once again that the franchise can evolve and has the depth to stay for a long time.
I think that's very important to find a good balance because we're making games, it has to be fun, and we need to have very strong fantasies.
My hopes for players who play Assassin's Creed Origins, I sincerely hope that they see that we did due respect to Assassin's Creed, even if we've drastically changed that experience. You want them to walk away from that with more than just, you know, okay, I had my experience. You want them to have that experience linger with them, that it meant something to them, on whatever level that means, whether it was the gameplay, the narrative, the setting itself. So I sincerely hope we leave people with a sense of awe after playing this game and a sense of, you know, respect and that we did something good.
Thanks for watching. If you're looking for more Assassin's Creed Origins, you can watch 10 minutes of high-level gameplay right now, or check out our deep dive into the creation of the city of Memphis. All of our IGN First coverage can be found at go.ign.com/ACOrigins. And for everything else Assassin's Creed, keep it right here on IGN.